Next comic, you can check him out on, he's a writer for drinkingwithpaul.com. Please put your hands together for Dan West.
I think what I like most about this show so far is the diversity. It's been a wild couple of years. I entered the pandemic 97 years ago. I entered the pandemic engaged to be married. And that fell through about 3 days after we moved in together. About day 4 of the pandemic, we lived together. It turns out that 3 days in, you run out of all the conversations that aren't fights. I should have known early on we were a bad fit. I should have known early on because early in the relationship, she told me she didn't like golden girls. Yeah, no, I fucking know. I was there. In the Army, we call that a red flag. Because people are allowed to have their preferences. People can like what they like. If you like yellow starburst, I like red starburst. I think it's weird that you like yellow, but you're allowed to like what you like. But if you don't like Blanche, get the fuck out of my house. So this past weekend, somebody said, well, I like Betty White. Who the fuck doesn't like Betty White? I'm not arguing over who the best golden girl is. They're all delightful. And if you don't like any of them, I'm glad you didn't start paying rent, because get out. I think the thing that I'm saddest about with the relationship ending is I was looking forward to being a dad. I was looking forward to having kids. I'm great with kids. We're on the same basic emotional maturity level. So I'm awesome with children. And I wanted that Norman Rockwell painting, that perfect thing, 2 kids, white picket fence, 2 kids, obviously a daughter and a son. Daughter named Hannah Montana, and son named Zach and Cody. That joke used to be son named Drake and Josh. Then it turns out you're not allowed to be famous and named Drake unless you want to bone kids. So, it's sad, but it's topical. I need the 2 kids. I need Hannah Montana to be a little bit older than Zach and Cody, because she's going to stop you from getting bullied. People will say things like, hey, was your dad just a really big fan of the Disney Channel? And she can say, no, he's just an asshole. Because I'm not naming my kids after stuff I like on TV. If I'm naming my kids purely after things that I like on screens, I am naming my child Speed 2, Cruise Control. I got into a fight on Facebook because I'm very self-actualized. I'm just crushing life as a grown man, fighting with strangers on the internet. But it's because they were asking inappropriate questions and I didn't think that was okay. So I pushed back, I stood up for myself, stood up for what was right in America. They said, hey, how come you're in this mom's group? And I said, well, it is 2021 and I don't think you're allowed to ask that question. And they said, okay, fine, do you at least have kids? And I said, no, I don't, but I do have a cat and that's harder. They got very angry, but I stand by what I said. I stand by what I said, because here's the thing, eventually your human child will learn English. Meanwhile, for the next 14 years, I have to figure out if my cat woke me up at 3 o'clock in the morning because she's hungry, she's sick, or just a bitch. It's the last one. It's always the last one.
Yes.
Always the last one. What I don't like is when people treat their pets like people. I don't like that. I don't like that. Because obviously pets are better than people. No, here's the thing. I've had 4 cats over the years, over my 36 years of life. I know, I've aged badly. Next joke. I've had 4 cats over the 36 years I've been alive, and not one of them has tried to fuck my girlfriend. Meanwhile, 7 of my human friends have tried that since 2021. I have fewer human friends now. That being said, though, I will say, I put up with way more from my cat than I would ever put up with from a person. If a human treated me the way my cat treats me every day, we're not going to keep hanging out. If there's a day where, Matt, you met him earlier, nice guy. I've known him for about 6 years. If he ever called me up, he's like, hey man, you got to come over. I'd say, cool, I'll be there in a little bit. And he says, no, you got to come over right now. All right, I'm on the way. I go to his house, I knock on the door, he opens the door, I go to shake his hand, then he smacks me, bites me, and runs away. I'm only falling for that 2, maybe 3 times. Meanwhile, my cat, who is the devil, but also the best human I've ever met, I'll be sitting there reading a book. That's a lie. I can't read. I'll be sitting there, playing Crash Bandicoot, drinking a Zima. Because I'm under contract to make a 90s reference every 45 seconds. So I'll be sitting there, I'm playing my game, I'm drinking my drink, I hear a little meow, I look over, she's giving me the eyes. She's giving me the Shrek 2 Puss in Boots eyes. And I say, in just a second, I'm gonna come over there and I'm gonna rub that belly. And I go back to my game. But now, a couple seconds later, there's another meow, and I look over. Now, not only am I getting the eyes, she's also on her back. She's showing me her belly. She's inverted, like Maverick from Top Gun, because I also do 80s references. I say, you know what, screw it. This game has a pause button. I hit the pause button. I take 3 steps. She catches me with her back claws, bites me, runs to the next room, and still lives in my fucking house rent-free. That joke is brought to you by January of 2019, when I got fired from a job and spent a bunch of time with my cat. I got fired from a bad job. You guys know what it's like getting fired from a job you hate? Yes. It sucks. It's like when your girl breaks up with you because she's tired of boning other dudes. I think everybody got it now. No, they called me into HR. They said, hey, this isn't working out. And I said, fantastic, I agree. Now the healing can begin. And they said, no, we don't think you should work here anymore. And I said, awesome, again, same page, but who's going to pay for my cat food? And they said, no, you're fired. And I told them that I thought that was very brave. I stand by that statement. I just think it's really brave to fire someone who knows you don't have an active shooter policy. That's how you find out how handcuffs feel in a non-recreational setting. It's been a wild year. I went back to school after getting fired. I'm a 36-year-old college undergrad, which obviously I love. It is fantastic having classmates younger than my tattoos. Big fan. Big fan. It's been awkward though. Like the most awkward encounter that I've had was when a professor came to a show. She came to the show, she brought her husband, they both laughed, it seemed like they had a good time, and on Monday she handed back a paper and she said, great job, you got an A. Well written, well researched, well reasoned, great job. Also, do you really do that many drugs? And I said, how do you think I got an A? I am 36. Drugs are not for fun, now they are for function. At 36, that paper is really just, this would have been a C+, but I did find some cocaine. I got a couple more stories for you. A couple more stories, and then we're going to bring out your headliner. Very, very funny guy. I'm excited for all of us to watch him. About 6 years ago, I went to a strip club on Fat Tuesday. And also every year since then, because Dan loves tradition. And I swear, it was like a Nicholas Sparks novel. Like one of the good ones, not Dear John, fuck that one. It was one of the good ones, where I walked in, and across the artificial fog-lit floor, the black lights going, the laser lights piercing the veil, I made eye contact with a beautiful young woman. Our souls connected across that room. And she walked up to me, and she said those words every man wants to hear. Would you like me to dance on you for money? And I said, hell yeah. And we went to the back and she danced for 3 songs. At the end of that 3rd song, she said to me, do you like to party? And I said, hell yeah. She said, what do you like? And I said, well, what do you have? And she said, are you a cop? Because you have to tell me. And I was heartbroken because I thought we made a real connection. So I said to her, actually, that's not how entrapment law works. What entrapment law means is I cannot be a police officer, offer you drugs, you take those drugs, and I arrest you for doing drugs. That's entrapment, it's against the law. However, I could easily be an undercover police officer. You ask if I'm a cop, I say no, then you take up the drugs, and I arrest you for doing drugs. That's not entrapment, that's just good old-fashioned police work the way Mom and Dad taught me. She paused for a very long time. She paused for half of Inagata Divina. For the young people here, she paused for the length of 17 baby sharks. And then she took out a small bag and said, "Do you want to do some cocaine?" And I said, "You're under arrest!" And she ran away, but she dropped the bag, so I got free cocaine. That's a story with a happy ending, if I ever heard one.